Okay, let's get started. Welcome to our summer series, Eating on a Budget. I am Diana Palmer. I am the coordinator for Nevada Money Mentors, and this is Conrad. He is our GA for Nevada Money Mentors. So we're excited to get started on our series today. Okay, so let's talk about what students kind of go through. College students, what they spend on a budget. So the cheapest meal plan at UNR for a student who is a returning student, either had transferred or a new student who's coming back, the cheapest meal plan that a student can have is a $4,000 meal plan. With this, you get 10 weekly meals in the Down Under Cafe plus 200 annual food bucks. The average cost of food per month for a college student is $541, and then the college students on average spend an additional $341 eating off campus every month. So that's like almost $900 a month for a student. That's a lot of money. So let's just talk about what college life for college students like. It can be pretty stressful. There's a lot of highs and lows, classes, homework, extracurricular activities. The last thing you really want to have to worry about is budgeting for food. And so you want things to be easy and convenient, but you don't want to necessarily go into a lot of debt or overspend. And so we're going to talk about that today, is figuring out how to balance your schedule as well as to attain a desire to eat healthy, and then fuel yourself and your brain with having the right balance, not having a lot of processed foods, having a good healthy amount of carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and also not spending a ton of money. Okay, so let's kind of just jump right in. So making a comparison. So we have Jamba Juice on campus, and they are very delicious. And their Kale Rivian Freeze comes out to about $5.40 for one drink. Now, if you make this at home and you kind of plan ahead and you shop, then your initial purchase of all the ingredients may cost more, because you can't necessarily just buy half a cup of yogurt or 1 cup of apple juice, but you buy the ingredients so you can make smoothies all week long. Then when it comes out to this, it's only $1.40 per smoothie as opposed to $5.40. Now you have to plan ahead, you have to make time for this. It's not necessarily as convenient as shopping on campus or getting your smoothie on campus, but you're going to save a lot of money. So kind of having a planning factor in here is going to help. Okay, so let's talk about how much we spend per month. So we said earlier at the beginning that students on average spend about $340 off campus on eating out. So that's kind of in that middle of the road there. So think about what your spending looks like, and you can think about it weekly too. So are you spending $50 or less a week, or are you spending $100 or more a week? And where are you landing on that for that budget? So if you're spending less than $200, you're doing pretty good. You can even cut that down more depending on how frugal you are, or that you can kind of set yourself a goal on what you're going to allow yourself to spend. I like to meal prep, I like to cook at home, and I rarely eat out. Or somewhere in the middle of the road, I have a balance. I treat myself. I like going out, but I also enjoy eating at home and preparing my own food. And the last one is I don't like eating in. I don't like preparing my own food. I'll buy anything at any time. I dine frequently.
So how can we find the right balance? I think some questions that might arise when we first look into this idea of eating on a budget is, can I enjoy food now if I eat in versus eating out? How do I get started per se? And does this mean I can't eat out? Through this presentation, we hope that we'll be able to give you more insight as to finding that right balance where you can eat out, even though you're trying to budget for yourself at the same time. So here's some of the benefits of eating at home. We firstly look at saving money from the ingredients. The ingredients being that the ingredients we spend will be less in cost than the total price of the meal. We're saving from the service, so we won't need to dine in where we're paying tips for a waitress, a waiter, And then we're also saving on labor as well, where there's no labor costs associated with making that meal, even though we'll be using our own time to make that meal. Some of the benefits of eating at home also include having complete control over the ingredients specifically in your meal. So you'll be knowing exactly, what you take, the nutrition facts, knowing that, I can add a little protein here and there as well. And also whether it's, specific, herbs, sauces you want to kind of personalize, add more spices to your meal. That's entirely kind of up to you. So these are just some of the benefits of eating at home. And now let's kind of take a step closer to walking through the process of grocery shopping. I think this starts specifically with knowing your current spending. So maybe it's your first time tracking how you budget and tracking that specifically. But taking a step back and kind of asking yourself, what do you currently spend right now on your groceries, and is there any specific way you might want to cut back on specific categories and all that. But in accordance with that, planning out your meals so that specifically what ingredients you'll need to shop for when you do grocery shop as well. Making sure that you have that grocery list and sticking to it. When you're grocery shopping, maybe you're planning your specific route, the specific stores you want to hit, or even the specific aisles you're trying to go through, so that you're efficient with your time as well, and you're also not going to aisles where you might be tempted to buy some unhealthy foods that you weren't necessarily planning to buy. And that kind of leads to our point of don't shop when you're hungry. Studies actually show that when you start to feel really hungry, you also become less thoughtful about what you should be eating and focus more on satisfying that craving. So, when you're satisfying that craving, the research shows that it might result in buying more unhealthy foods, or even buying something that's not entirely related to food. So that's something to be especially aware of when you're going to grocery shop as well. Another strategy is
looking for weekly ads and coupons that help with decreasing the overall cost of your groceries, even if it's by a marginal amount. It's still entirely helpful. And also buying in bulk if applicable, knowing that when you buy things in bulk, it'll usually be cheaper in the long run. But we'll actually expand more on that in the next couple slides about how buying in bulk and some of the pitfalls with buying in bulk as well. And finally, food is calculated sometimes by weight or sometimes by unit. So being super cognizant of that when you grocery shop as well. So turning to kind of grocery shopping here in Reno specifically, some of the options we have are Walmart and Winco. Generally they have the best deals. We turn to Costco if we're looking to buy things for bulk. But the key here is you might want to consider taking cash when you go to Costco, because there's so many things around you that could kind of attract you to take a look into making a purchase there. And then as I mentioned before, some of the pitfalls are when you're buying things in bulk, things might expire as well. So you really want to kind of allocate or plan out specifically when you're going to consume that specific food, so that it doesn't expire when you do try to buy everything. Rayleigh's is a more expensive option, but they do have some high quality produce, fruit and everything. And then finally we turn to Sprouts, Whole Foods, and Natural Grocers. These guys being more the organic based natural stores that also more in the higher end in terms of pricing, but definitely healthy options to choose from. So while it might be time consuming, if you do have the opportunity to kind of go store by store, or also kind of look at specific items you want to buy and kind of map up the best deal, that's a strategy you can use when looking at pricing comparisons and trying to find the best deal possible that works for you and the specific foods and items that are part of your meal planning and part of your diet as well.
Okay, so we're going to look at this chart right here. This is the USDA's moderate cost plan. And so this is kind of what a monthly grocery budget for somebody between the ages of 19 and 50. And this is really current, March 22. And so even with inflation and the fact that prices are drastically going up at the grocery stores. I've seen bread go up, like the bread I buy specifically, go up almost $2 a loaf over the last 2 years. It's just prices have definitely gone up. But with that, so women on average spend just under $300 per month, and this is moderate, so kind of in the middle. And then men spend just right around $350 a month. And so how does that kind of like break down for women? That's like around $75 a week. For men, it's slightly more. And so what does that look like if you only have a $75 a week grocery budget going out? That doesn't mean you have to eat out more. You can actually only eat out or only eat in on that grocery budget and not have to eat out at all. You just kind of have to think about where your money's going. And what Conrad had just spoke about on the previous slide with like price comparison and looking at that. This is really valuable information to say like, okay, is organic really important to me? Is the generic brand okay in certain scenarios to where I can spend a little bit less? And so kind of just really thinking about like, where's your money going? How much are you spending? Breaking it down to say like, okay, what am I comfortable spending like per meal? If my budget is that $300 a month or $350 a month, all right, can I spend less than that? Am I comfortable spending more than that? It's all about what you're comfortable with so that you're not stressing about it after the fact and feeling like you've spent too much, or what that might look like for you. Okay, so meal prepping. Meal prepping can save you so much time, and it can just eliminate a lot of exhaustion when it comes to having to like think about what you're going to make. So planning out in advance, sitting down, we're going to talk about meal planning in a little bit, but really preparing everything. Budget time to shop and cook. So thinking about time and like, when am I going to go grocery shopping? Having a plan for what you're shopping for, like Conrad had mentioned. And then also, when are you going to cook your meals? Are you going to try to batch cook some stuff on the weekend ahead before the week gets ready, or chop things ahead of time so it's ready to go? Or are you going to mainly focus on doing all of it every night before in the evening? Are you going to plan for your breakfast? Overnight oats is a great way to meal prep. You can kind of like prep little containers and make overnight oats to last you a whole week. And so then every morning you just have to wake up, grab it out of the fridge, and you're good to go. You can also team up with roommates. When I was in college, some friends and I, every Thursday we would get together and we would kind of do like a little potluck, and it was only like 4 or 5 of us, so it wasn't a big group. We would meal plan together, and kind of it would maybe be like spaghetti one night, and somebody would kind of like make the spaghetti. Somebody else would bring garlic bread. Somebody else would bring kind of like salad or a side of vegetable on the side to have. And then of course it's like ladies' night, so then we'd always have to have a little bit of dessert too. So somebody would bring ice cream, and so it was kind of a way for us to kind of like make that night a little bit easier and something to look forward to, because we were planning it out together, and it was easier to kind of keep it cheap because we were making like a bigger portion together. All right, so weekly meal planning. So this is a really great way to kind of like have the schedule laid out. For me, I only meal plan for the most part. I only meal plan dinners for the most part for my family. I do oatmeal every single week, every single day for breakfast. Every once in a while, I might deviate from that and have some eggs, but for the most part, I do oatmeal every day. And then dinner is what I plan. And so you can do like the same thing every single night, and so you have variety in specific categories. So if you do like Taco Thursdays every single night, then your Thursdays, the tacos, it could be the exact same if you love that recipe, or you can kind of vary it week by week, but you always know that Thursday is going to be some sort of taco night. You can do chicken tacos one night, and then you can do cauliflower tacos one night, and you can do a taco salad a different week. So kind of like having a few things that are your staples that you become really good at. You can do a specific type of pasta dish once a week. On Tuesdays, Papa Murphy's has pretty discounted pizza. It's like their $11 pizza night, and so you can get a really big pizza for only $11. It's take and bake, and so you have to bake it at home. But my family does that every Tuesday, because even though it's a weekly meal planning, it doesn't mean I'm going to be cooking every single night. I also plan for one night to be leftovers, because I don't want to cook every single night. So those are ways that you can kind of meal plan and kind of think ahead. And then bang for your buck. So these are kind of things that's really kind of like planning ahead and thinking about what's going to be healthy for you and then also going to save you money. And so buying filling foods instead of junk food. And so if you're buying a big huge thing of corn chips are good, but they're also really salty. Eating them with salsa, it's better to, instead of having that as like a large snack, having it as a side of something so that it's just still tasty, but it's not filling you up. Make enough of your food for leftovers so that you don't have to prepare and cook the next day. And then also your ingredients go farther, because if something only calls for a little bit of ingredients and you have leftover ingredients that don't actually make a meal. So if you make a larger meal, it's a little bit better. Buying cheaper cuts of meat instead of the more fancy cuts of meat. Replace your meat with veggie-based proteins. Buy frozen fruits and vegetables. Fresh berries are very expensive these days. But if you buy frozen fruits and vegetables, especially berries, then they're much more affordable. Buying food that's in season right now, it's summertime, so there's a lot of like summer melons and watermelon and cantaloupe that are in season that are really hard to get in the winter months. But if you seek them out in the winter months, you can generally find them, but they're going to be a lot more expensive. And then looking at generic brands. So is it important to you that you buy Heinz ketchup, or could you buy the Walmart brand of ketchup and save a little bit of money there? And then minimize buying highly processed foods. Really try to shop. We refer to it as the perimeter of the grocery store. So fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, or frozen, but anything that is the way that it grew. So unprocessed is more healthy and will ultimately save you money.
So we want to take a deeper dive into filling foods. Filling foods being those that are essentially foods that make you feel full, not that you need to eat more, and those that contain healthy nutrients as well. So filling foods are high in protein, high in fiber, high in volume. So some of these foods might contain a lot of food water or air. They're also low in energy density, so low in calories, specifically for its weight. And some of the examples, common examples in our everyday diet might include, potatoes, eggs, or oatmeal as well. How do we get started with everything? When we're trying to, meal prep or figure out, our kind of meal planning situation when we're eating in instead of eating out. Well, some of the ideas we have here, recipes, ideas, anyone can get started with, and we just want to provide a couple links and resources to these specific recipes. I think it first starts with finding for yourself what you personally enjoy in terms of eating, and finding recipes that are both within your budget, but also easy to make within any kind of college students busy schedule as well. Now we'll turn to more on eating out, and specifically, what are the tips we can kind of use when we eat out everywhere? Drink water. When we eat out, restaurants, that's where they get you in beverages with the high priced beverages, whether it be soda, juice, and all that other stuff. Take advantage of specials. Sometimes there's specific days for that restaurant where they have a deal on a specific meal, and if that is a meal that you really enjoy, maybe it's making sure that you go out on that day. A strategy that Diana alluded to as well with the Papa John's. Eating out for lunch rather than dinner. Typically, the lunch menu is cheaper than the dinner menu as well. Joining rewards programs. Some restaurants they have specific rewards programs or points that you can earn to hopefully achieve a $5 discount, a specific discount on a meal, or maybe it's a free dessert, something like that. So those things can help here and there. And finally, a big one practically being you can split meals with a friend or a family, or eat half and save the other half for leftovers as well. Knowing that some of these portions are extremely huge, and portions that are more fit for 2 meals rather than one, and being able to split meals or eat half and save the other half is definitely helps with budgeting and tips for eating out. What's a good spending plan when you do eat out? How can we set kind of that plan so that we do stay within kind of our budget and everything, setting a limit, knowing kind of before you even walk into the door of the restaurant, this is kind of, my limit for spending for the night. And that limit, including, a beverage, if that's what you choose to do instead of water, including those appetizers, the food, the main entree, and the dessert as well. Be aware that there's different price ranges for different restaurants. For example, maybe the price range for Applebee's, for example, is on the lower end compared to a high-end Italian joint. So knowing that before you even go out to eat, what's your price range for that night? You can also shuffle your spending. When we say shuffle, we mean say you want to have dessert. So you use that money for, say, kind of like an appetizer money, and you move it into dessert so that you are still staying within your means. That's kind of almost like the idea of the joy of missing out, a kind of presentation we did previously. But on the further point, asking yourself, where else could you spend that money? So what are you foregoing to kind of have eating out for dinner? What is that kind of thing that you forgo to have that the joy of eating out for dinner as well? And being intentional and carrying cash are also specific strategies that help. By carrying cash, you physically see how much you're spending, and you have an idea of this is exactly how much I have for the night. Furthermore, studies have proven that when we do spend 30% less when we use cash versus a card, and the card being a debit card or a credit card, the statistic is still the same as well. Finally, avoid using food delivery services if possible. So those delivery services fees can add up. So instead, maybe an idea is going for takeout, picking up your food versus using maybe an Uber Eats or one of those services.
So these are the meal plans that the university offers for students that are in the residence halls. There are some other swipes that students can buy that aren't living in the residence halls, but I just want to kind of talk about what the options are for this upcoming academic school year. So the silver plan is the highest plan. This is the most expensive plan. It comes in just about $6,000 a year. So it's pretty expensive. So this would be good for students who have a very high metabolism, athletes who need to eat a lot more and more frequently, people with maybe like a very specific diet that need access to additional options. And so they get unlimited entries into the Den, which is also called the Down Under Cafe. And this is, they get also, they can utilize their meal trades. It's 2 meal trades per day at any of the national brands, including the proprietary brands. So national brands like Panera, Porta Subs, Panda Express, and then proprietary brands are places around campus that the university has created. Sierra Street Subs, Bite Coffee. There's a few other places around campus as well that students can eat at. And as you can see, there's kind of like a scale. So if you have the more weekly meals, then you have less food bucks. So students who are on that silver plan get less food bucks. They have 400 food bucks for the year. And so food bucks is essentially just like cash, but it's on your Wolf card to use at different places. And so it's not necessarily a meal trade, it's just food bucks. And then as we go down, we'll kind of take a look at gray. So gray is the cheapest meal plan for incoming freshmen who will be living in the dorms. They still get 12 weekly meals to eat on campus in the Down Under Cafe. They can do they can do 2 meal trades per day for the proprietary brands, and then they get a majority, get quite a bit more food bucks. They get $600 in food bucks, and then their overall cost is quite a bit less than that silver plan at $46.44 for the year. And then this white meal plan is our lowest meal plan, and this is for students who are returning to campus housing or transfer students who are coming to campus. And so this is a smaller meal plan. It's the smallest one. They get 10 meals plus annual food bucks. And then the cost for that one is $4,000. So then talking about dining on campus, so we have Starship Delivery Robot. Sometimes there are some extra good deals in there where the delivery fee is either waived or it's very small depending on where you're getting food from. And so if going physically to a specific place to get food is difficult for you, you can have it delivered. You have your Wolf Bucks and Food Bucks you can use, the Down Under Cafe, which will be opening in August for students. This is going to be kind of like a large buffet experience. You have a lot of options to choose from. There's going to be like a burger place and a pizza place. There's Halal Shack. There's a market in there. And so there's a lot of places to get different food. There's also going to be a enclosed area that is really good, that's gluten-free and then nut-free. So students that have specific dietary needs, they'll have that access as well. And then other places to eat around campus, the Joe, which is our student union. There's a lot of really good places in here, and these are all of those national places, brands: Porta Subs, Panda Express, Del Lobo, Habit Burger, Sushi Burrito, and Starbucks. There's a few other places too that kind of like rotate in and out of there. And then the last thing I'd like to talk about is Pack Provisions. So Pack Provisions is an on-campus food pantry that serves the University of Nevada community. This is a completely free resource that is available to all members of the Wolfpack Pack family. I want to really emphasize it is welcome to all members. So this resource is to help people who are struggling with food insecurity. This is a resource that can be accessed by students, staff, faculty. The pantry is located inside the Center for Student Engagement, which is the third floor of the student union. This is not a government funded service. It is completely run based on donations. So the only thing that you need to provide is your NSHE ID number, and it has to be an active NSHE ID number. And then you can use this service. You do not have to provide a social security number. You do not have to provide your state ID, a passport, anything along those lines. This does not impact any part of your financial aid. This is just a service that is ran based on donations to help anybody that is dealing with food insecurity to have access to food so that you don't have to go hungry or make poor choices because certain processed foods like having ramen every day maybe more affordable than eating some fruit and vegetables. They do have produce, and then they have a lot of pantry staple item as well. Once you become a Pack Provisions user, you will be enrolled into a Canva class. It's not actually a class, but it's a way for you to receive updates and learn about events and learn about the programs that are going on for Pack Provisions.
Some of our upcoming topics for a summer series on June 23rd, we'll be talking about retiring in your 30s, July 12th, cost of credit, and then finally July 28th, we'll be looking into side hustles. So every day I'm hustling. These are some upcoming dates and topics to make sure you don't miss out. And then we also love to hear how we did and other possible topics you'd like to see in the future as well. You can scan this QR code to give us any feedback specific to this presentation. Yeah, well, thank you so much for joining us. You can follow us on our social medias at NV Money Mentors, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube as well. For those interested, more questions or interested in potentially one-on-one coaching, you can reach us at our contact information is just listed here.